Let's go.
Okay, please stand by. We are live in 3, 2, 1.
I now call the meeting of the Code Enforcement Board to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Hillsborough County Code Enforcement Board hearing. When addressing the board, please state your name, address, and speak clearly into your microphone. Presentations by the county respondents and opposition must be kept to a maximum of 10 minutes each. The board may recess for 12:30 p.m. and reconvene at 1:30 p.m. to conclude business if needed. Basic process for this hearing is as followed. Your case will be announced. Ms. Meyer will conduct the oath of witness. Staff will present their evidence on your case. You will be allowed to review the evidence and explain what has occurred. I will close the hearing. The board will deliberate, make a motion, vote, and then I will announce the decision. The board may ask questions and allow other witness testimony if necessary. If the board issues an order for you to come into compliance, it is your responsibility to call or leave a message requesting an inspection to confirm compliance. Copies of the number. If you fail to call for an inspection, an inspector will come, and if he finds you are not in compliance, you will receive a notice in the mail. By law, you have 10 days to contest the findings of non-compliance. Otherwise, it will be considered correct and a lien may be filed against your property. If you have any questions, these rules and outlines by Hillsborough County Clerk's ordinances and laws, Chapter 14, Article 2, Section 14. Any person who decides to appeal the decision of the Code Enforcement Board will need a record of the proceedings. The record is comprised of testimony and evidence upon which your appeal is based. It is your responsibility to ensure there's a verbatim record of the proceeding is made. By law, you have 30 days from the date of the order to appeal the board's decision in circuit court. And please silence your electronic devices. Okay. Before we move on to the roll call, I believe staff has something.
Yes, sir. I need to do an oath of office.
Board members, we have a new alternate attending with us today, and she will need to take the oath of office. Jean DeRazio. There. The clerk will give Ms. DeRazio the oath of office.
Mr. DeRazio, would you please raise your right hand? Repeat after me and state your name at the appropriate moment. I state your name.
Jean DeRazio.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support, protect, and defend.
That I will support, protect, and defend.
The Constitution and government of the United States.
The Constitution and government of the United States.
And of the state of Florida.
And of the state of Florida.
And that I am duly qualified to hold office.
And that I am duly qualified to hold office.
Under the Constitution of the state.
Under the Constitution of the state.
And that I will well and faithfully perform.
And that I will well and faithfully perform.
The duties of the Code Enforcement Board.
The duties of the Code Enforcement Board.
Which I am now about to enter.
Which I am now about to enter.
Thank you.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Ordinara.
Here.
Boland.
Here.
Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Lorenzen.
Present.
Urbaniak,
Here.
Wright,
Here.
DeRazia.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum?
Thank you. I have read the minutes of the previous meetings of February 28th, 2020 and August 28th of 2020. I approve the minutes. Ms. Meyer would administer the oath.
Mr. Chair, a motion to approve the minutes would be appropriate. I'm sorry,
Okay.
were they not Code Enforcement Board minutes?
Yes, they were. Motion. Somebody want to give a,
I move to approve the minutes as noted.
all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Everyone, all county staff who will be testifying must take the oath of witness. Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. One of your agenda, number 2, case number CE 2000-7. Cover is Cynthia E. Oliver, location 9704 Ellison Road, and we have 4 people are here signed in. You can come to the podium now if you're signing for this case. Is the other person who signed in going to testify to this? Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And state your name and address.
Cynthia Samuels. You want the address of the property?
Your mailing address.
P.O. Box 324, Parish, Florida 34219.
Okay, let me. Please, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, nothing but the truth? And state your name and address.
Carlycia Johnson, address is 3011 West South Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 361.
Do we have an inspector to testify on this case?
Officer Rowan.
What was the case number again, please? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Rowan with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Okay. Paul Rowan with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case assigned to 9704 Ellison Road was, just stand by because I'm trying to see the slides as you're seeing them also. This began back on April 15th of this year. As you can see from the photographs, I included an original photograph that I took on the first visit date. I've also included a photograph of the accumulations and the overgrowth, the amount that she's completed. This is a large piece of property, and I've had a couple of discussions with the property owner who has explained that there's a little bit of a financial issue because of the scope of what had to be done. She has made quite a bit of progress. I did a reevaluation on the fence violation and ended up closing it. The fence does meet the conditions to be in compliance. The property owner, Miss Oliver, is very cooperative, and we had a very good discussion, and I'd like to recommend to the board a 60-day extension for her to complete what needs to be done.
So are you asking for a continuance? Mr. Rowan,
Yes.
are you asking for a continuance? Or
No, if when you guys make a decision, I'm asking for a 60-day time frame to complete, but I'll let the property owner see if that's sufficient for her.
Okay. Ma'am, go ahead. It's your turn to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I was asking for an extension on getting the property completed because it is a big piece of property and my finances are limited. Plus, I'm having problems trying to find someone that can go out and help me get it done.
How long do you think you need?
At least 2-3 months. And it's for about 4 months already.
Okay. Yeah. Members of the board, you, excuse me, do you have any questions? Hearing no questions, who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'm happy. Excellent. Go ahead.
Okay.
I move in case number CE 20005387 that based on the evidence presented, I find that the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, that I grant 60 days to come into compliance. And if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Was that 60 days?
Yes, sir.
Can you make it 90?
I would agree to make it 90.
I'll second that revision.
Okay, so we're looking at 90 days, $200 a day. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Ma'am, you have 90 days. Thank you.
Just to clarify, that's 90 days, $200 a day?
Yes, ma'am.
That's 200 after the 90 days.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next case, please.
Ms. Meyer, before you call that case real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got your mic not muted, can you double check to make sure if you're not speaking? If you could keep your mic muted, I'm dealing with a dinosaur here, but I'm getting some interference. Oh, thank you. Yes, ma'am, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, the next case is on page 2, number 3, case number CE 20006011. The owner is Shireen Hyatt. Location 6701 Bob White Court. We have service and there's someone here to testify. Come up now, please. Good morning. Raise your right hand, please. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And state your name and address.
Shireen Hyatt, 6701 Bob White Court, Sefner, Florida 33584.
Thank you. And in a moment, we'll see some property. Is that property?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Rowan.
Good morning, Paul Rowan with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case began on April 28th of this year, was the result of a anonymous walk-up complaint while I was doing a sweep through the HOA and about the fence. And it's the only fence zoning violation. The property owner have had several discussions with her about this case, and she has no previous history with us. She was supposedly trying to file for a variance, and the last time I talked to her on September 8th, she was going through the checklist required to be able to get a variance. She has I'm going to let you describe what she's got inside. There's a reason why she needs a 8-foot fence, but I've explained to her she needs time to try and get this variance filed. As of the last inspection date, she hadn't gotten that filed with the system, so I had to push the case forward for hearing at this point. There are no life safety issues.
Okay. Ma'am, it's your turn.
All right, the fence is extra tall because I work with a cat rescue organization, and there's a barn on my property, so I agreed to take in barn cats that were unadoptable. And they can jump a 6-foot fence because the back part of the fence is only 6 feet tall, and there are some of them who get out and go into my neighbor's yards because it's only 6 feet. So I actually have to fix that so that those stay in, but they can't jump to the top of the 8-foot fence. So in order to really contain them, it's very important that it stay high. And I can't see that it really adversely affects anybody else. And in fact, I would think my neighbors would be better off if I can keep the feral cats inside, living in the red barn, if you can see in the back of that photograph. There's a chain link fence around the whole back, the barn, and with a special cat fence on top of it to keep them in. But the part that goes around the pool, it's a vinyl fence, first of all, not wood, so they cannot climb it. Is that sufficient? I don't know what else you need to know.
Have you applied for a variance?
I have all the paperwork with me to apply for a variance.
You have it with you, but you have not yet filed it. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct.
Okay, how long is it going to take you to file the variance, ma'am?
As soon as I can file it. There's one thing that may take one more week, but other than that, I'm ready.
Okay, I do have a question for staff. Is the county center open for her to be able to do this?
It's a modified type system, but they can leave the paperwork off that it's later picked up and reviewed. So that there is still the process. The county center is still open. It's just not functioning at the speed of normal days.
Okay, so we're talking it's going to take even longer than normal.
It's very likely that it would just take a little bit longer because of the way the people are working from home, and they somehow, I don't know the process, but the paperwork is picked up and reviewed at a later date.
Okay, thank you. Board members, questions?
Yeah, I missed the first part. What's behind the fence? What does she have to contain?
Cats.
Domestic feral cats.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Very
motion. Do we have a motion? All right, Mr. Lorenzen, it's on you.
Fantastic. I move in case CE. No problem. I move in case CE 200006011 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator, and the violator's history, I grant 90 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $100 will be assessed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion.
Does that mean that I have to change the fence, or does that mean that I can apply for a variance by that time?
We're in a motion. Hold on one second, ma'am, and we'll explain it for you.
Okay. Was
there a second?
We have a second. All in favor?
Could you identify the second, please?
Do we have discussion?
I think he's asking to identify the second, who seconded the motion.
Yeah, Mike Boland.
Okay, and do we have any discussion? No discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any opposed? Okay. Ma'am, you have
Yeah,
90
it's just been
days to get your
decided.
variance. Yes?
For,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
You're asking again.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't understand what's been decided.
What's been decided is you have 90 days to go get your variance.
Thank you, sir. Now, and someone will tell me where to turn that in, and I have,
You have 90 days.
okay.
Thank you.
I guess should I speak with Mr. Rowan, or how do I know where to turn in the paperwork?
You'll need to speak with your officer about that. Okay, next case is on page 3, number 5, case number CE 2000-0372. The owner is Magali P. Perez Fernandez, location 4305 Autumn Leaves Drive. We have service and someone is here for this case. Good morning. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And state your name and address.
My name is Joshua Montero from Samus Law Firm.
And you can give your business address.
1005 North Marion Street, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
Thank you.
Okay, Officer Owen.
Ready?
Okay, do you recognize the photo, the property in the photo?
Yes, yes,
as your
yes.
client's property? Thank you.
Okay.
Steve Favors, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement, case number CE 2000-0372. Property located 4305 Autumn Leaf Drive, Tampa, Florida, 33624. It's owned by Magali Fernandez. The property is not in foreclosure, and the property was first inspected on January the 9th, 2020. During this initial inspection, the property was cited for burglar bars, not equipped with quick release that would allow burglar bars to open without a key or tool. Over the course of the remaining months of this year, I conducted my final inspection on 9/11/2020. The violations still remain. I have been in contact with the owner and explained to her about the violation being a life-threatening situation, and it's kind of twofold because the fact that no one can gain access to the property without a quick release or her exiting. She's also indicated she's 70 years old, so she said there's a life safety situation too if she allows someone to come in to modify her burglar bars. And that's it.
Okay, Counselor?
Agreed with him. She is almost 70 years old, and that's one of the primary concerns. During the pandemic, trying to have somebody come into her house at this time would cause a safety issue to her. Those bars have been there since 1979, more than 40 years. We couldn't find anything where it should be grandfathered in. I believe the city does grandfather in, but we understand that it is a safety concern. She wasn't given any notice until January of those bars, had no idea they had to be removed. And right now, because of the pandemic and because of cost, she actually hired me pro bono. I'm doing this for free for Ms. Fernandez. She doesn't have the ability to change them. And I know usually give about 90 days, but 90 days is not going to help Ms. Fernandez in this situation. She's going to need some time to where she can feel comfortable for her safety to let somebody into her house to be able to make these modifications. Because right now, it's pretty much a permanent fixture of that house. And for her to make that modification would have to take everything out completely. There's not a way to go and retrofit those bars because they've been there over 40 years.
Okay, you said you're doing this pro bono?
Sir,
Okay. My question is she safer having somebody come into the house, or is she safer if the house catches on fire not being able to get out of the house?
she can get out the house. I mean, truthfully, she hasn't left the house since March, but it's been there for 40 years. She's been in and out the house, hasn't had an issue with them. There is a key. I understand it has to be a quick release, but there are keys for those bars, and she feels comfortable that it's not a safety issue for her to leave in the house. She feels more concerned if somebody was to come in the house and she ended up with the COVID, because she has some significant health issues where she could end up, if she was to get the COVID, and pass away.
Okay, for the officer or staff, whoever can answer my question, if she puts a key in each lock, would that comply with the ordinance?
Well, sir, the problem I have is it's not just a matter of having a key in the front gate to gain access through the front door, but if she's back in one of the bedrooms or something, there's no way for her to get out if she doesn't have access or it's blocked by fire to get to the front door.
So then it was my understanding that there were keys, like she could unlock each individual window. This is not true. She can only unlock a front door. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay. Board members, do you have any questions? Board members?
I'll ask one. Are there any family members that the lady can live with while the work gets done? You mentioned the life safety, for the owner occupant, but the county's got to worry about the life safety if a fire happens. So kind of catch-22 here.
One daughter, and I tell you, Ms. Fernandez says since March, she hasn't even hugged her daughter. Her daughter comes and drops off food and leaves. Her daughter works in an industry, computer tech, that she has to go into work. So her daughter's concerned being around her mother and going to work at all times could expose her to COVID as well.
Any other questions?
Is it possible that your client would entertain making a modification to the front door gates, which are exterior, and wouldn't have to penetrate her bubble to make a modification so that if rescue personnel came or something, they would have the ability to get to her and deal with some of the other issues on the windows later on when things reside?
And I think the front door, and correct me, has the key. That's the one with the key.
Yeah, she have to have a key for the front door.
The front door, there is a key.
Correct.
There is a key for the front door ones. It's just the other door, the windows that don't have a key to it.
So the key is accessible for emergency personnel to come into the building? I mean, somebody calls 911 and she's in a back bedroom. How are they getting to her? Right now, it looks pretty impenetrable just on the pictures that I've seen.
And it's a safety concern on both ends for Ms. Fernandez.
So would your client entertain that as a modification while we...
And I'm not understanding, you're saying the door, the access to the door, you can come in and out the door. It's just the windows themselves, you have to have access to the inside in order to replace everything that's going to have to be done with that.
Oh, there's no burglar gate or door or gate on the front entry is what you're saying?
Not from the pictures I've seen. I haven't even been there, but she sent me pictures and it looks like on the door, you can access the door with no problem. It's just the windows that have the gate.
No, there is a gate on the front door to entry. You have to go through a burglar bar type of gate on the front, so you couldn't just go to the front door itself.
Yeah, that shows a gate.
The front, you have to pass through burglar bars just to even get to the main entry door.
Okay. reasonable. If the board is willing to just have her modify that for now, I think she can find somebody to do that without having to come to the house itself, or just take it down.
I'm not really sure, because you're still gonna be in the same position that if she's in the back room and the kitchen there's a fire start in the living room, it's between her and the front door, there's no way for her to get out. A matter of guessing what room she's in for the fire department. If they get there, even if they determine that she's in the back left bedroom, the only way, they may not be able to get in there in time because of the fire in the living room. They may not be able to get to her in the back bedroom. Situation where when I process paper to give to her, she's in such fearful of having people come in the resident that I have to tape paper to the front gate. I have to actually return back to my vehicle, and then she will come out, take the paper and basically sign whatever I need her to sign, place it back on the gate with the tape, and then once she goes back inside, then of course I retrieve the paper, but she's not having any contact with anybody. And as far as finance, she tried to refinance or obtain a loan to be able to do it, because she told me there's the two companies that she found that would do it, and one of them wanted like $15,000. But her husband is deceased law enforcement, and I guess she had him on her since he was law enforcement, and she has a built-in fear of someone coming into the resident. So even when I mentioned about just removing the burglar bars and maybe putting cameras or something up, for safety reasons, she just reluctant because, that's been her, her safety net, having the burglar bars, knowing nobody can come in.
She had an incident when she was in her 20s where somebody came into the home and she had those put in since then.
Okay. I understand what both of y'all are saying, but we cannot let an elderly person be locked into a house that, as Mr. Lorenzen has pointed out, the paramedics can't get to her. If she falls down, how are the paramedics going to get in and save her? The board, do you have any other questions?
My other question was, and I think the officer brought that up, finances. So even if we were, tell her that she has to make these modifications, if she doesn't have the financial ability to do that, that kind of leaves us in a bind as well.
Well, it doesn't leave us in a bind.
Well, it leaves her in a bind.
Correct.
Originally, we were going to charge her, and I had to go back to my boss and plead not to charge, because she couldn't even make a $50 payment per month on a bill. Normally, we charge a lot of money for something like this, and I went back and we took it pro bono because she just doesn't have the financial means to do it.
Well, possibly you could reach out to some agencies or Lowe's, Home Depot, whoever. There's got to be people out there that can help. Like I said, I cannot support leaving her in that house where she cannot get medical aid or get out if there's a fire. Do we have any other questions?
No, I can make a motion.
Go ahead, sir.
All right, I move a case number C200000372. Based on evidence presented, I find that property is in violation of Hillsborough County Code and ordinances as listed in the staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of violation, the actions taken by the violator and by this history, I grant 45 days to come in compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $100 per day be assessed.
Do we have a second? Mr. Ubranky, if you're seconding, you're on mute.
I'll second for the purpose of discussion.
Okay. We have a motion. We have a second discussion.
I'm just a little concerned with the timeline. I mean, I understand where everybody is. I understand the life safety issue, but if we're asking them to go and find alternate source of financial support to take care of this issue, I just think 45 days for somebody that's homebound is going to be pretty tough.
Suggestion?
I don't know. I complain, but I don't come up with an answer. I know, 60 days, 90 days, somewhere in there. I mean, obviously this issue's been going on for a while, and I think we're giving the counselor, an opinion of the board and a direction that we'd like to see him try to help. And I know he's already going out of his way to help. So I'm hoping that can continue, but I don't know that it can be done in 45 days.
I'd say 90 would be good. I'd be all right with 90.
You're muted.
You're on mute.
I'd say 90 would be fine.
Yes, Ms. Lorenzo?
In regards to the health safety issue, would it be possible to put some type of a combination key box on the outside of the house that would open the front gate, so that number could be given to emergency people and they could get in? And I'm not saying it's a solution, I'm saying it's a mitigation move for temporary access. That's just a suggestion.
Unfortunately, there's just too many emergency personnel in different departments and third parties that just, it would never work. You might as well put a sign up with the combination on the outside.
I was talking about the person calling could give whoever they spoke to that combination. If there were an emergency, whoever called for the emergency would have that number, and I guess that's shared with family members and of course the occupants.
Yeah, I understand, and I think that would be a solution, but we're making the assumption that she's going to be able to make that call, and that's not necessarily the case, unfortunately.
Okay, so we had a motion of 45 days. We had a second for discussion. Do we have further discussion, or do we want to modify the motion?
Yes, I'll modify that motion to 90 days.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I oppose.
I oppose as well.
Roll call, please.
Bordenara,
No.
Boland,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Lorenzen,
Yes.
Urbaniak,
Yes.
Wright,
No.
Durazia. Sorry, Durazia.
Yes.
Motion carried 5-2. Bordenaro and Wright voted no.
Okay, thank you. Counselor, you understand?
I didn't hear if it was going to be 90 or 45 days.
It's going to be 90 days, $100 a day fine after that 90 days. Okay, next case.
Thank you.
Go back to page 2 of your agenda, number 4, case number CE 2000-6509. The owner is Gabriel Ruiz and Alda E. Delgado. Location 9910 Harney Road. We have service, and someone is here for this case. If you're here for this case, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And state your name and address.
My address is 99.
Pull the microphone down a little. There you go.
My name is Gabriel Ruiz, and I live at 9910 Harney Road.
And is it Tampa?
2107.
Okay. And the zip code 33592?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Do you recognize the property in that photo?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Rowan with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case at 9910 Harney Road began on May 5th of this year. The property was cited for accumulations, inoperable vehicles, and outside open storage. The property owner is not in foreclosure, and the property has no previous cases on it. I've had a discussion finally on my last site visit with, I believe, the daughter or the son of the property owner, and I've talked to Mr. Ruiz on the phone. He wasn't really aware of what he was doing was a little wrong. As you can see, he definitely collects Corvettes. We've had a discussion about he's going to pursue trying to put a large garage on the property, which the property definitely can accommodate that. He did start cleaning things up, and some of the accumulations has left. I would be open to giving him a sufficient amount of time to try and pursue complying the case. There are no life safety issues.
What do you think's a significant amount of time?
I think 90 days would be fine. By then, he'll probably have cleaned up to the point that a lot of this stuff is going to take care of it. Some of the vehicles are definitely junk, and he actually, I think a couple of them have been taken away already. I understand his love of Corvettes, and he has several, but he wants to get them put in someplace so he can keep them, and he's in the process of restoring them.
Okay, sir, it's your turn.
Me? Well,
yes, Mr. Ruiz.
We sold like half of the cars. We only got like 4 or 5 left, and I think 2 of them are gone today. And we have cleaned all that stuff that was around the tree. So if you give us just a little bit more time, we can do it. But more than half is already cleaned up.
Okay, how much time do you need, sir?
How much time?
Yes, sir.
90 days would be great.
Okay. Board members, any questions? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Ms. Wright, go ahead.
All right. I move in the case number CE 200006509 that based on the evidence presented, I find that the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in the staff presentation. Further, based on the gravity of violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, that I grant 90 days to come into compliance, and the compliance is not achieved by that day, a fine of $100 per day be assessed.
Second.
Who did you give me a second?
Lorenzki, second.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sir, you have 90 days.
Very much.
You're welcome. Next case, please.
Is there anyone else here who hasn't been called yet? Are you for the staff report case? Is that them? Okay. All right, turn to page 5, number 8 under staff reports, case number CE 2000-1062. The owner is Thomas J. Terry, location 9402 Ripley Road. This case was heard at the hearing on August 28th, and the owners did not appear at the hearing because there was some confusion. The hearing in the county center was canceled on that date, and a notice of cancellation went out, and then it was rescheduled for the same date here. And they were confused and thought the case was canceled. So we wanted to bring it back before the board to see if you would agree to hear it again. And it is up to the board.
Okay. First thing we're going to do here is board members. Do we have a motion to hear this case again?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Wright. Second?
I'll second Mark Urbaniak.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're going to hear the case.
Raise your right hand, whoever's going to testify.
No, hard time here.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And both of you state your name and address.
Thomas James Terry Sr., 9402 Ripley Road, Thanotas, Florida, 33592. I'm temporarily staying at my son's because I got sick and was in the hospital. And my grandson is staying there right now, taking care of things until I get back.
Okay.
Thomas Terry Jr., 2105 Johnson Road, Plant City, Florida.
Okay, officer.
Good morning, Paul Rowan with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case at 9402 Ripley Road began on January 23rd of this year. They were originally cited for accumulations, inoperable vehicles, outside open storage, and an excessive amount of recreational utility vehicles. The property is zoned AS1 and is 0.85 of an acre, so it's not a full acre. They were also originally cited, which has been complied, was an improper use of zone because the son was repairing vehicles on the property. That has since, that was actually complied very quickly in February. The property, there are 3 previous cases on this property. They were all more than 5 years ago, except for one in 2017, which was unfounded. So you can see from the photographs, and this has not changed since the date on those photographs. There are unregistered vehicles in the back. There's a flatbed trailer in the back. There's a container on the property, which I've had several discussions with the property owner and explained that they can get a permit to allow to keep the container, but the container has to be permitted, anchored to the ground, and go through the process of changing it from a container to a storage building because it's not a proper structure. The container has been there for a long time, but it still meets the outside open storage violation. There has been cleanup and progress on the property, and I've tried to work with Mr. Terry on time, and you're 9 months since this all started, about 8 months actually since this all started. We're looking, I'm looking to see some type of compliance hopefully in the next couple of months, because of my discussions with the son and a daughter, or the girlfriend of the son, something like that. The person who accepted the original notice was they were working on that and they understood what they needed to do. There aren't any life safety issues.
Okay. Sir, it's your turn.
I'm the son, which does not live at this residence. I own my own residence. It is a grandson to my father that is staying at the residence and has been cleaning up the residence. I just asked the inspector, when's the last time you've been to the property?
My last visit was August 6th. Oh, no, I'm sorry, August 25th. So about a month ago.
Been quite a bit of work done out there. The Connex has been removed. There's been quite a bit of work done out there since the last time you've been to the residence. Vehicles been moved and gotten rid of. There's still some there, but several have been gotten rid of.
Okay, sir, how long is it going to take you to get rid of the rest of it?
I mean, I work a full-time job out of town, and I took today off to bring my dad. So it's just on the weekends that, because of financial reasons, that we were able to help him on the weekends to make the corrections out there. Like the Connex. The Connex was a $1,500 deal to get somebody to pay to come get it and remove it from the property. It's a financial burden, you know, to just need some time to do it. If we could get 90 more days to correct the issue, that would be great.
You're looking at 90 days is what you think you need to get it done?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So a comment, as far as the inspectors being able to go down a private drive to access our back of our residence. We'll post the trespassing signs, and that none of this stuff that he has pictures of is visible from the road.
Just because it is not visible from the road does not mean it is not against the ordinance.
Has to get to the back of our property.
What if he flew over it in a helicopter? All right. Members of the board, do you have any questions?
I do have a question. So the code enforcement officers, are they just able to go onto the property like that?
They're talking about an easement that runs down the side of the property to a separate house.
Gotcha.
That's what we're using to go by, and it runs the entire length of the side of the property.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? So, sir, do you understand what he said about there is an easement which gives them
That
the
easement is
right?
a private drive.
No, sir, an easement gives him the right to travel down that road, okay? Do we have any more questions?
The property, the drawing of the property, that is for the residents that lives behind us.
Sir, we're not going to
Classified as
debate.
an easement.
Sir, we're not going to debate whether he's using an easement or not using an easement. Okay, there is an easement. That's not what we're here for. We're here to find out when you can come into compliance. You asked for 90 days. So the board does not have any more questions. I would like to get a motion, please.
I'd be happy to move.
Go ahead.
I move in case CE 200001062, that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 90 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $300 per day be assessed.
Do we have a second?
No second.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sir, you have 90 days.
County shall back out and re-inspect the property prior to the 90-day timeline?
If you call them.
Oh, okay, very good.
All right, stay in touch with your inspector. Next case, please.
Everyone in the audience, if anyone else is here that needs to speak, let me know. Okay, I believe that does clear the audience then. So we'll go back to the first of the agenda, and Mr. Bordenero, if you want to lead the statement for the motions.
Certainly. Seeing there's no one present in the audience for the meeting, remaining cases on the agenda, the board will now review the case materials previously provided by county staff. If the board finds the property is in violation of Hillsborough County Code or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation, the board ruling in each case will be based on the evidence presented, gravity of the violation, action taken by the violator, violator's history, and determining the amount of fine that will be assessed. Okay, normally we do our round robin, but that's going to be kind of hard to do. Brian's got his fingers crossed there. But what we're going to do is
excited about something.
the way I can see you all on the screen, unless it changes, is Mr. Ubranke and then Miss DeRozo. I just give out names. No big deal. Then it would be Miss Wright, Mr. Bowling, Mr. Fitzpatrick, and Mr. Lorenzen would come in last. Is everybody good with that?
It only took you 2 years to get done with mine, so.
And you can just call me Mark. That's fine. Mark is just perfect. Thanks.
Mr. Urbaniak, it took him 2 years to get mine, so it'll be a little while.
I'll have no hair by then.
Next case is on page 1, number 1, case number CE 2000-6939. The owner is Roger E. Nelson and Renee M. Nelson. Location 1804 Cattleman Drive. We have service and no one is present.
Officer Carr.
Jim Carr, Code Officer for Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. The property in question is located at 1804 Cattleman Drive in Brandon, Florida. It is owned by Roger E. Nelson and Renee M. Nelson. The property is in foreclosure and it is owner occupied. So Hillsborough County Ordinance 0963 as amended applies. This property was first inspected for this case number on May 12th, 2020. I conducted an inspection and identified 3 violations, of which all were complied on June 1st and then again on September 10th. What we are requesting is a remain in compliance order on the overgrowth conditions, and we're asking for a per occurrence order for the unsanitary pool and the porch roof. The owners are a repeat violator for an unsanitary pool and the roof under Code Board Order dated September 30th, 2019 for Code Board case number CE 19006242. During most of my inspections, I met one of the property owners, Mr. Nelson. He has always been very quick to come in compliance. However, we do have a history at this property. Code Officer Bolin was handling a case in 2018. We had a complaint in overgrowth. There was Code Officer Cortez, Bowling, Tyne, and Code Supervisor Whalen and myself was handling a case in 2019 on this property for overgrowth complaint. And we actually had that case go to the Code Enforcement Board hearing for the unsanitary pool and the roof damage that was still remaining in violation back then. So we were asking for a remain in compliance order for the overgrowth and a per occurrence order for unsanitary pool and the roof.
Okay, with the pool sanitation, it needs to be a very short date. We just can't have them keep doing this. So.
Everything is in compliance right now. Yeah.
It's all in compliance, you're saying?
Everything is in compliance. I am requesting for a per occurrence order on the pool.
Okay.
history of the property.
So you're saying the overgrowth is complied with?
Compliance. The last time I saw it was mowed was September 10th.
Okay.
And for overgrowth, I'm asking for a remain in compliance order. For the pool, I am asking for a per occurrence order. The pool was found in compliance on September 10th again.
Okay. And what about the roofs?
Roof is along with the pool. He actually fixed a roof on June 1st. That was in compliance then, and it hasn't been out of compliance when I went back on August 31st and on September 10th.
Mark, it's to you.
Can I ask a question first, real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
So we're asking for an order to stay in compliance, and based on the graphic that was on the screen, it looks like the overgrowth was also a repeat at some point. So are we asking for an order to stay in compliance as a repeat violator for that?
They are a repeat violator for the pool and the roof.
But not the overgrowth.
It was on the board order that was signed on September 30th, 2019.
Just to clarify, we do not have a prior order for the overgrowth, and that's why we're asking for remaining compliance. The other two do have prior orders, and we need per occurrence for future violations of those.
Understand. Thank you, Ms. Meyer. Good luck, Mr. Ubaniak.
Okay. All right. So we need to do the order to stay in compliance for the repeat violations, and then a order for the initial violation of the overgrowth.
No, we just need to do a repeat violation.
Okay. All right. I believe I have that here. Okay. Make sure I'm not. Okay. I move in case number CE 20006939. That based on the evidence presented, I find that the property again is in violation of Hillsborough County Code or ordinances listed in the staff's presentation, and of the previous order dated, I believe, 9/30/2019. This constitutes a repeat violation as defined in the Florida statutes. Florida, I find the property is now in compliance with this code provision, in order that it remain in compliance with this code provision. And additionally, that a fine of $250 per day per occurrence be imposed for any repeat violations of this order.
I'll second that one for purpose of discussion. I think that's, if I understand it correctly from what Ms. Meyer said, that would be for items 11.7.4 and S 13.5 pool sanitation. And then we need a standard order to stay in compliance order for the 12.2 overgrowth as a separate order.
That is
I believe.
correct, Mr. Lorenzen.
Thank you, ma'am. So, Mr. Ubaniak, if you just want to specify your order for what you just did for items 11.7.4 and 13.5, that should take care of that one. And then if you can do an order to stay in compliance for 12.2, we should be complete.
Okay, so separate order to stay in compliance. Okay. And then I move in case number CE 20006939. That based on the evidence presented, I find that the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances presented for the item in the 12.2, I believe, for the overgrowth, that the property is now in compliance with this code provision, and the order that it remain in compliance with this code provision.
Second for both motions, Lorenzen.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, no opposed? Next case, please.
Turn to page 3, number 6, case number CE 2000-5705. The owners are Alva A. Mullins and Elisa L. Mullins. Location for 4324 Fox Glen Lane. We have service and no one is present.
Favors, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Case number CE 2000-5705. Property in question, 4324 Fox Glen Lane, Tampa, Florida, 33624. Owned by Alva and Alyssa Mullins. The property is not in foreclosure, and the first time this property was inspected was on April the 22nd, 2020. At the time of that inspection, there was inoperable vehicles and accumulation on the property. Over the course of the month, or over the course of since April, I've probably made about 4 different inspections during none of the violations have been corrected. The red vehicle that's in the slide is a homeless person that's living on the property. Yesterday at 3 o'clock, they requested that I do a final inspection so they wouldn't have to come to court. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time, so I made an inspection this morning. The inspection occurred at 7:15. The inoperable vehicles have been removed. However, the accumulation that's in the corner on this photo slide here has been blocked by a temporary barrier in an attempt to deceive code enforcement of the violation. So the accumulation still remains.
Okay, were you able to see behind whatever they blocked, or you just know they put a petition up?
Just know they put a petition up. You can see the trailer is still at the same location.
Okay.
Fence itself is not even attached to anything, if you can see in the photos. It's just blocking the trailer.
Okay. But you're saying inoperable vehicles has been taken care of. That's complete.
That is correct.
Okay.
We're on the property.
What we're dealing with now is just the accumulations. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Mr. Renzo. You need to unmute your microphone, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. You're going to make a motion on the accumulations?
Is that a regular initial or stay in compliance, or no, that's not it either?
No, ma'am. It is just the regular order. It's the initial violation.
We're on the speed round, correct?
Yes, we are on the speed round.
Yeah.
I grant 30 days to come in compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 a day be assessed.
Mr. Lorenzo.
I'll second for purpose of discussion. Do we need to clarify that that is just for item 12.1 accumulations and that item 12.5 inoperable vehicles has complied?
This motion would be for
Yes.
PM 12.
Yes.
Actually, if the order is just as you stated it, the inoperable vehicles will be included in that order, so it's not really necessary to separate the two items.
Great. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, we have a motion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposed? Motion carries. Next case, please.
For number 7, case number CE 2000-8255, the owner is Melissa Rivera, 3001 West North Street. We have service and no one present.
Officer? Do we have an officer present?
It's John Carrion. He should be on,
Should be. And we look.
I do not believe he is on.
System shows this case is in compliance.
Well, that would settle that. Case is in compliance. Next case.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
No, I apologize. Yeah, it does say it complied, but it doesn't. Okay, hold on. Okay, yes, an inspection was done yesterday by David Kanzler, and it was found to be in compliance.
Okay. Next case.
That concludes the agenda.
Okay. Do we have anything the board needs to bring up? Okay, and Dorenzo and Mr. Eubanky, I give out witness protection names if I can't pronounce your name. So I just make up a name and throw it in there. So we'll have to get used to it. Mr. Lorenzen's been putting up with it for a couple of years. All right.
I need witness protection, so that's cool by me.
It's the highest degree of flattery, really. I mean, to be honest.
Does staff have anything?
Miss Jean, welcome to the team. You did a great job.
That's
It always gets easier after the first one, so congratulations.
It does. Welcome to the team.
Yep.
Being I have no gavel, I will use this or adjourn.
Thank you all.
See you guys. Good to see you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, guys.